Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gritty Hour. Today I have a very special guest, Efrain Raices, who is the head of a international order of men's cooking clubs known as.
Les Marmitons.
Thank you, Efrain. I appreciate that. And tonight I'm joined by my semi-colon co-host, Rich Del Valle. Thanks for dropping in, Rich.
Hey, good to see you. Good to see you guys.
Yes,
Good
you
to
and I,
bring it together.
yes, you and
Yep.
Efrain work together, correct?
Yes, that's
Yes, we
correct.
do.
Yeah, so you're the president of the New Jersey chapter of Les Marmitons, right?
Yep, absolutely. You got it.
And
Yes.
I said it right.
You
Yeah.
said it right.
Jeez, I'm
Yes.
Ring the bell.
I'm half
Ring the
French
bell.
Yep.
already. I'm half French. So just describe for our audience, Afron, what that club is and what it does.
Okay, so Le Marmiton it's a men's cooking club. We started almost 50 years ago. Next year will be our 50th anniversary. And the way it started up in Montreal. And this guy emigrated from Switzerland. He didn't know anybody and met somebody and said, "Hey, let's get together, have a meal." So they got together, they cooked a meal, and then the next month they invited another couple of friends, and two became four, four became 10, and 10 became almost 1,000.
Wow.
Today we're 18 chapters. Last count we were about 900. That was about a year ago. So we're probably close to 1,000. And what we do is we meet once a month with a professional chef. The chef puts together a menu, gives us recipes, and we go to town. We actually we do all the scaling, we do all the buying, and we actually cook everything. We break up into teams. So somebody does the appetizer, somebody might do a soup, somebody do the main course, another team will do the dessert. And then we sit down, we share the meal. There's always a sommelier that will pair each course with its own wine. We usually do about 5 courses. Sometimes we do 4, sometimes we do 6. Um, and it's a friendship club. We have chapters, like I said, we have chapters throughout the US and Canada. We're 18 chapters. We're in Montreal, Toronto, Niagara, Calgary, Nova Scotia. In the US, we're in New Jersey, Atlanta, and South Carolina.
Nice.
We
Wow.
have 4, yeah. We're actually looking to grow. So if anybody out there is in one of the other cities, maybe Philadelphia, Chicago, New York, we have
I'm
some interest down in the Miami area.
actually surprised you
Um,
don't have anybody in New York or Miami.
it's a lot of work. So you usually the way a chapter is born is that a member from a chapter moves somewhere, and they started a chapter there. I'd say out of the 19 chapters we now have only one of them was started without a member actually moving to that town. That was in Winnipeg. Um, and I think 12 of the other chapters were basically started by the same person, who
Wow.
was one of the founding members. His name is JP Joban. And he started in Montreal, went to Toronto, he started one there, went to Niagara, started one there, moved to New Jersey, started one here, moved to Atlanta, started that one there, went to Sandy Springs. So he's the Johnny Appleseed
Very
of,
good.
of,
Wow.
of the organization.
Getting hungry, Rich.
Yeah.
And I just ate.
And you just did, yeah.
Ephraim, one of the things you mentioned was so you guys get together once a month, right? But
Correct,
that's
correct.
all chapters.
Well, each chapter gets together independently. For
Oh, okay.
example, I'm the New Jersey chapter. We meet on the second Mondays of the month. Other chapters meet whenever it's convenient for them to meet. The majority of them meet on Mondays, only because Monday, for most cities, it's the day that the restaurants are closed,
Close
so the
day.
chefs are available. Ironically, in one I can't remember the town it is right now. It's near Montreal. Their night off is on Saturdays. That's the day that everybody uses their
Really?
coupons. Yeah, yeah. So they obviously they hold their events on a Saturday.
Interesting.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
so when does the entire all 900 of you get together? Is that even Is that even
Yes.
possible?
So we don't, the whole 900 don't get together, but what we do is once a year, each chapter will host everyone. We'll invite basically everyone. We have to limit it because we can't have 900 people. But we've had as many, usually get about 200 people, and we meet in one central location, and it's like an Indian wedding. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and
Oh my
Sunday.
God.
That's not us cooking. That we're just partying. So we eat, we drink, we eat, and did I say we drink? We drink. You know, we drink quite a lot during those days.
Gotta wash
Um,
that stuff down with something.
you got to wash it with something. New Jersey, we hosted in 2008, and in 2028 we're hosting it again. We started already planning it. Actually, we don't know where we're going to do it. Last year we did it in New Orleans
Oh wow.
because the hosting chapter was Sandy Springs, Georgia, and there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. So they said, could we do it in New Orleans? So we actually had 240, 250 people
Mm.
in a hotel, and it was for 4 days, and it was great.
Wow.
It was
So,
great.
it's just organically it's a bunch of, is it all just men?
Yes, it's just men.
It's a bunch of fellas who like to cook, really. Not all of them they have to be chefs, right? They could just be somebody that has a love for cooking.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, our bylaws do not allow professional chefs to be members.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm.
So we're all like my club. I think my youngest member in the New Jersey club is probably, I don't know, maybe 30, 31. And the oldest member is hovering around 90.
wow.
Oh my God.
And you have engineers, accountants, doctors. I have a superior court judge. Um, Teachers, every fact of life. We have guys that are retired that are on this, not assisted living, but on because you have to have a little bit of money to be able to afford. And we have, I think, like 5 guys that have so much money that you wouldn't even know it.
Mm.
Like the one guy's worth over $100 million, and you wouldn't know it because
Yeah.
they don't flaunt it. It's about friendship. It's about, as a matter of fact, our motto is from friendship to gastronomy.
Hmm.
So we're friends first, and eating and drinking secondly.
Yeah, I saw that in your bylines. There was no way I was going to pronounce that.
Yeah.
Astronomy. It's amazing how food draws everyone together. It's just, in love and in friendship. It's an amazing thing. I
Yeah.
don't think people realize, and obviously the older you get, you realize it more and more. But it's an interesting thing because breaking bread with a bunch of people is probably the best way to talk out things, sort out the various issues if there are any, but just a camaraderie. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you really don't like the person, you slip some poison in the food, and that's it,
It's an easy
that
peasy
hasn't
maneuver.
happened. That hasn't happened yet, at
hasn't
least.
yet,
Yeah.
yet. He does
Hasn't
say
happened
yes.
yet.
Well,
But
Afrin,
it's
Afrin, tell me
yes.
how you got into cooking when you were younger.
Oh, wow. Okay, so growing up, we always had Sunday dinners.
Where
So
did you grow up?
uh, I grew up in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah, I grew
I've
up
heard,
in Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
I've heard of
And
it.
our routine for Sunday was we went to church, we went home, changed, and then we went to grandma's house. And it was the big Sunday dinner, just like you see on TV,
Right.
probably 30 people, the women, cooking all day till dinner. And um, I was always the little fat kid that was in the corner asking for the taste, you know. And I always wanted to learn how to cook. I remember the first time I cooked, I did burgers and hot dogs and things like that, but I'm Puerto Rican, and obviously, rice, beans, pork is our thing. I remember the first time I cooked, I was alone. My parents had gone away, so I was alone in the house. So I decided to make rice, beans, and chicken. Rice, beans, and pork chop. So I made a pot of rice, I made a pot of beans, I made some fried pork chops, and that night I had pizza because it was so bad. It was so bad I couldn't eat it. you know. But I was determined. The next day, I did rice, I did beans, I did pork chops, and I had pizza for dinner. So I did this about 4 days. I did this for about 4 days, and the fifth day, I was able to eat my rice, my beans, and my pork
Pork.
chop. You know, so anyway, so I was cooking, and then I remember one day I said, I wish there was a place that I can go once a week, once a month, pay maybe $100 and learn how to cook. And I looked at some of the schools, but like the French Culinary Institute and CIA, and for a weekend courses, you're talking $1,000, and this is 25, 30 years ago. So
Yeah.
I gave that up. And I remember one night I couldn't sleep. In the middle of the night, I turned the TV on. It's like 2 o'clock. I turned on Food Network, and I see Al Roca. Al Roca, I don't know if you know who Al Roca is.
Yeah.
He's the weatherman. So he used to have a show called Roca on the Road, where he would go and visit different organizations and different places. And so he's talking about this men's cooking organization that gets together once a month with a professional chef. I'm like, yeah, they're from Canada. And I'm like, yeah, there's probably nothing in the US. He goes, and in the US, there's one chapter. And he goes, and it's in New Jersey. Well, now I wake up, you know. So I just emailed the president at the time, and this was on Friday. Ironically, that Monday, they had an event. So they invited me over, and 3 months later, I was treasurer, and 24 years later, I'm the president of the New Jersey Club and of All International. So I preside over the whole organization. And now I can cook anything. I mean, there's nothing that I can't cook.
Really?
Any cuisine, Indian, French, Spanish, Thai, Italian, or Chinese, whatever it is. I've done it, and I can do it. Nothing scares me.
So you just learn from one another, basically.
We just learn from one another. Some of the guys are very, very talented. Some guys barely can boil water.
That's
Right.
me.
You know?
Grilled cheese sandwich, grilled cheese, baby.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
This DoorDash too. There's always DoorDash.
Yep.
So have you seen an increase in the acceptance or the new members that you're getting in over the last 10 years?
Yeah, when I first started, first of all, we try not to grow too fast, too much. You know, it's not a business, even though we do sort of run it like a corporation. It's not really a business. So we sort of grow organically. If somebody moves somewhere else, when I started, we were 11 chapters. This is 23 years ago. I started in 2003, actually. So it's 23 years ago. I'm sorry, 2002. So there were 11 chapters when I started. We're up to 18. So we haven't, and we were at 500 members back then. We're up to we've about doubled the membership. Yeah, almost doubled. COVID killed us for a while, because during COVID we lost about 180, 190 members. A few of them passed or didn't come back, and a few of them just from not being, their interest sort of wavered, or they got sick and they couldn't come back. And over the last 3 years, we're actually back to the point of the last 2 years, we're back to where we were back in pre-2021, pre-COVID.
So what constitutes a chapter, though? Like, say someone is listening to us in Wyoming, and him and his 3 friends like to cook. How do you become a chapter?
Okay, so you reach out to us. We actually do have a procedure. You get a couple of guys. You want to could start at somebody's house. If they get an interest and they can get 15 guys together, they need to find a location. The hardest thing really is to find a venue. A lot of the schools cook at a lot of the chapters cook at culinary schools. We cook at it's called Kitty Keatwell Camp. And Kitty Keatwell Camp is a camp in New Jersey that runs a sleepaway camp for underprivileged kids. Sort of like the Fresh Air Fund in New York.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. So what they do is they and this is sort of my plug for Kitty Keatwell Camp, because they do a great thing. They have 2 weeks programs. So they'll bring kids from underprivileged homes. Most of them are broken homes. Most of them are on public assistance. And they bring them in for 2 weeks to a camp. sleepaway camp. They give them 3 meals, three, balanced meals a day. They teach them how to eat well. They teach them how to exercise. Very often, that's the only time that these kids see a doctor or a dentist because they get a full workup.
Right.
And this year, that camp has been around for 100 years. This was their 100th anniversary.
Wow.
For the camp. So they have a professional kitchen and they have a hall. So we actually cook at their hall. So getting back to what constitutes a chapter.
I'm sorry.
So you gotta,
Before you keep going, you cook
Yep.
for the kids?
No, we don't cook for the kids.
Okay.
No. We just cook for us.
Okay.
What we do for the kids is we do a fundraiser once a year for the kids, and
Good.
this is pretty interesting. We do a 6, sometimes 7 course meal. We do a big event where we invite 150 people. We charge $125 a head. The guys at the club will cook, and it's a full sit-down dinner with wines. It's like think of like a wedding type of dinner, but with better food. And all and all the money we raised goes right to the camp. We've raised close to $200,000 for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's why that's what that's not what allows us to cook there, because the initial intention wasn't to do that. But one time we said, hey, we want to do something nice for you.
Yeah. Just morphed into it. That's
exactly. Good. We wanted to do it one time, and then at the end of that event, the president of that camp said, by the way, we want to thank everybody for coming to the annual Le Marmiton fundraiser. I'm like, oh shoot.
I guess right into that.
I guess we're committed. Yeah. But we're happy to do it. My club, we're 34. My membership is 34. And we get together and we put a meal that very often is the best meal that these people have had all year, because it's an upscale gourmet meal. And we've done some amazing food for them.
There's got to be moments when, you have your meetings once a month and the one guy comes in and he goes, oh, Charlie's here. We're getting the London broil. He's great with the London broil.
Yeah, there's one of those. It's funny you say that, because we had one of those guys, and he said he's not coming back because he's blaming his health, but he wants the London broil, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But once a month, we want the nice food,
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who plans out that once a month meal?
So yeah, I do. I plan about 70% of them. I get about 70% of the chefs. And what we do is I'll meet with the chef and tell them. As a matter of fact, last night I had a dinner, a chef's dinner, and I got 2 chefs that are coming that have shown interest. We get together with the chef. The chef, we tell them what the parameters are. For example, we meet at 5:30. And we're done by 10:30, and we're cooking everything from scratch. So we really don't want to cook something that's going to take 6-7 hours to cook.
Right.
Even though we've done certain things, what we do is we'll have a team that'll get there at 1-2 o'clock, and they'll start it early. But we really want everybody to have the experience. So they give us the recipes. They give us we put together the shopping list. My sommelier puts together the wine list. And that's it. The chefs do not get paid for doing this. It's just basically a night off for the chefs. As a matter of fact, one of the top chefs that we've had, his name is Anthony Bucco. And he does James Beard dinners for the James Beard House. So he's that guy.
He's that guy.
And I remember him saying one time, he says that, me doing this, it's like a pro baseball player hanging out with his buddies on a Saturday playing ball.
Right.
Because these guys are really, really passionate about what they do, and like I said, a lot of them are really, really talented. I've had a couple of guys that actually were inspired and became chefs from being at the club because of this. They're no longer members because they're not allowed to be members. But I have one guy who's a member, and he competes at Memphis in May.
Oh, yeah.
And the American Royal. He says he plays with a team. And they're always usually this year they didn't come top, but usually they're 1, 2, or 3. They do
Right.
whole hog and that type
Yeah.
of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting.
What?
I almost called you chef. Efrain, do you mind if I share the page for your chapter while we speak?
Please do.
Okay.
Please go right ahead.
I appreciate that. So this way,
Sure.
the folks at home that are watching on YouTube, if you're listening to us, it'll be in the show notes. But if you're watching at home, this here is the page. Les Marmitons, Les Marmitons, right?
There you
Yeah,
go. You
there
got
you
it.
go.
Hey,
you
look
go.
at me. Look
Come
at
on.
me. Huh? Lollipop.
Look at you. Look at you. Yep.
So this is your
And ironically,
website.
that picture that's there, that's us. We were invited. So this chef, Anthony Bucco, he was the executive chef at a restaurant called the Ryland Inn in New Jersey, which is one of the top restaurants in the state. And he was so impressed with us that he said, "You guys have to come cook at my restaurant."
Wow.
So that's us at the Ryland Inn. They close on Mondays, so he had us cook there. And I had 3 guys that actually had tears in their eyes because top chefs don't cook at the Ryland Inn. And
Right.
Wow.
and we were there.
That must have been an awesome experience.
That was an awesome experience.
You cook for yourselves, or do you cook for the Ryland and customers?
No, for us. Yeah,
Okay.
we cook for ourselves. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That must have been cool. That looks like an awesome kitchen.
That's an amazing kitchen. That kitchen must be $4 or $5 million. It's amazing.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
I love that. I love the hats.
Yeah.
Oh, the hats. Yeah. We wear a full uniform and funny hats.
The Chef Boyardee hat. What do you call
Yeah,
those?
sort of.
What do you call those hats? Is there a word for them?
They call them toques.
Toques?
Tokes.
They call them
Wow.
chef toques. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably another French word that don't ask me how to spell it, but it's it's one of those things.
It's you
So-
learn something new every day, and now I'm covered.
Yep, there we go. That's it. That's it.
Do you have any chapters in South America or the Caribbean?
No, right now we only have chapters in the US and Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We do have interest from Iceland. One of my guys went to
52nd
Iceland
state.
last year, and he was talking
Was that Greenland?
a guy that has a specialty food store, and he's interested in starting a chapter up there. So we actually have a meeting that we're trying to schedule for September, a Teams meeting or a Zoom
Right.
meeting to talk to him. But right now we're only in the U.S. and Canada.
Given the nature of what you do, does being international make it more difficult, you think, logistically?
Only in the travel. But it depends. But then again, I mean, I've traveled. If I go to Calgary, it's almost a 7-hour flight.
Right.
Yeah.
So so going to Iceland, it's
6 hours.
it's 6 hours. So it's actually less, and the cost to go to Iceland is cheaper.
Yeah.
Like this year, we went to Winnipeg, and it took me 9 hours travel because there was no direct flights, and it cost me $850 to go to
Wow.
Iceland. There's a direct flight, 5.5 hours, and it cost $550 for the same time period
Wow.
that I was there. So it's not as bad. Now, if you traveled, let's say, to Europe, like one of the guys wanted to do something in France, that's more difficult because you have the time. It takes a long time. It's a full days of travel by the time you're all done, and the time difference and so on. So logistically, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Yeah.
So
the person that picks the wine for the monthly meetings.
Sommelier.
Yeah. What was the
Right.
term you called him?
it's a sommelier.
Sommelier. He comes
Yes.
from all. Yeah. Okay. And he's like an expert on that, or he's just the guy that's his.
No,
strong
it's
suit?
just somebody that knows wine. I did it myself for about 6 or 7 years. And when I started, I just knew that there was a white wine and there was a red wine.
Yeah.
That's all I knew.
Kind of like me. Yeah.
Yeah,
There was a
and-
box,
and-
and we only knew box wine in the.
Well, yeah. Or box wine, right? And the nice thing about doing that is, especially if you don't know much about wine, you get to learn about wine on somebody else's dime. So you
Right.
get to pick, and because you're picking them for the club. And overall, I did a pretty decent job. There are a couple of guys that really know their stuff, that know their wine. So, if I had a question, I'd reach out to them. I have two guys that know more about wine than a lot of other people. One of them actually he's married into a winery.
Hmm.
So he has a wine cellar with 1,800 bottles, which is considered small to some, and the cheapest bottle there is $150.
Wow.
So you could, and he has 1,800 bottles.
Hmm.
You know,
So in terms of your membership, like
yeah,
I'm just a few miles from the Culinary Institute here in Dutchess
yep,
County.
okay,
So somebody's attending that and learning to be a chef, or learning to be something.
right.
This would be a great avenue to get exposure to other people who have a keen interest in cooking, I would think,
Oh,
while they're studying.
absolutely,
I mean, you don't have
absolutely.
restrictions on students that go to a
No,
culinary
no.
institute.
No,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, we welcome students.
Mm,
We have two actually that have visited us in the past that are now when they were students and they're now chefs. So we have them come in as a guest chef, even though they're a student. They're still a chef. They can come in, plan a menu, give us the recipes, and come and hang and play with us.
Hmm.
right. It'll make them can't help but make them a better student for what they're studying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and they'll learn something, and we'll learn from them, and they'll learn from us.
Hmm.
So Efrain, a
Yes.
question to you is, what? How did you not make a turn towards the food industry as opposed to doing numbers?
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
What
Okay.
what caused that?
What caused that? Okay, so as a little kid, and I always say as a little fat kid, I in first grade, I always wanted two things. I was a Star Trek geek, so I always wanted like a communicator. And
Hmm.
another thing I wanted was a nice calculator. Don't ask me why. In first grade, I always wanted a calculator. So now I have a cell phone, which is the equivalent of the Star Trek
Yeah.
communicator. And for a while, I had the StarTech phone. Remember that's the little
Oh
flip
yeah.
StarTech.
Yeah.
Um, and I have a calculator because I always wanted to play with numbers.
Hmm.
Um, Ironically, about 5 years ago, I was approached by someone, and I actually left my job of 18 years to go work for this guy who was starting an artisanal bread manufacturer. So I left my job of 18 years, and that was a pretty cool thing. That was a pretty cool thing. We were going to buy a company from Campbell Soup.
Oh.
Um, And so he said, come work for me as a consultant. And then as soon as help me put the deal together. And as soon as we buy the company, you'll be my CFO. And so I left my job of 18 years, went to work for him for 6 months. And 2 weeks before the deal closed, the deal fell through.
Mm,
Yeah.
And that was right before COVID.
mm.
And then I went on Indeed, and I just happened to fall into the company I am in now. But for about a year and a half, I did work in the food industry. That's a tough industry too. It's a very, very tough industry.
Do you
Oh,
ever
sure.
do you ever think about having your own restaurant?
No, that's too much work and not enough money.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends I have a lot of friends that do that, and they're working from 4 a.m. sometimes till midnight, or and it's a really, really grueling profession.
Mm.
I'm happy with what I'm doing. I like numbers. I like things that make sense. Food doesn't always make sense.
As someone who's involved in retail, I look at other stores like on the block where Rich and our store is, and
Hmm.
I see delis, and we have a bunch of restaurants and delis, and the only thing that stays in my head when I think of the business side of that is every single thing in there is expiring inventory.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
It's not like you're selling chairs or something, you know. Everything you have in
Right.
there has an expiration date on it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a
gonna
lot of
go.
that's a lot of pressure. you know.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
So I
Mm.
can understand. I can understand you
That's what they
wanted.
said. That's what they say. Don't ever order the specials because the specials are the stuff that's about to expire. I don't know how true that is, but
Well, that's
that's
why
what
they're
they
on
say.
special, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to
Yeah,
eat it that night as
absolutely.
soon as you get home from the grocery store, you know.
That's that, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Expired yesterday.
So
Yes.
so walk Rich and I through what a semi-average meal is on one of these get-togethers.
Semi-average meal. Okay, there's no such thing as average, but usually
Well,
there's a
yeah, a not yeah.
there's an appetizer, soup, or a salad. For example, I'm recalling one of my favorite things that I actually made my own is a she crab soup. And it's a she crab soup. It's an upscale she crab soup, so it's very fine and upscale. Probably one of the best things I ever ate in my life is this one she crab soup.
Now explain to me what
Um,
that is. What's she crab?
She crab soup. Well, they call it she crab because they used to use female crabs originally because they were bigger and supposedly they had more meat. I'm not an expert in that, but that's the theory.
Okay.
So they would use female crabs to make a soup, and it was a it's now sort of a cream-based soup, and it starts with carrots, onions, celery, and a seafood stock. The one I make, I throw a little bit of saffron in there, a little cayenne in there, then I blitz it and I throw some cream in there, a little bit of cognac, maybe or a little brandy, and at the
Okay.
end I use uh, uh, lump crab meat. The original one actually used real crab, real crab. Well, lump crab is real crab, but the one I make is a more refined version of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So that usually sometimes then the second course there could be it could be we've done clams casino. We've done clams with a tomato concasse, which is tomatoes. You blanch the tomatoes. Um, you top the clams and you basically broil them. Throw a little bit of cheese in there, a little bit of cream in there. Delicious. Um, Third course could be um, we had an event last year where we did ostrich.
Mm.
Oh God.
Yes, so we did ostrich. We had an event last year, actually another event last year, ironically with the same chef where we did camel.
Well,
Ugh.
You know,
you got to just try and articulate what those two taste like for
you know what's
people that
funny?
know.
Tastes like chicken.
It's funny. It doesn't taste like chicken. It tastes very similar to beef.
Really?
The ostrich is they take it from the leg and it is a red meat and you want to cook it pretty rare because it has very very little fat. So think of of a pretty rare steak. That's what
Hmm.
ostrich is. The camel to me it was a combination of maybe beef and goat together. If you could think of those flavors, a little gamey.
Okay.
Um, but that's what we had. Um, we do a basic vegetables. It could be a sautéed vegetable, could be an asparagus, it could be a Chinese broccoli, what they call gailan, which is one of my
Gailan.
favorites. Yeah, gailan, one of my favorites. And for dessert, we're not great dessert chefs, but we've done some pretty. We do tarts. We've done cheesecakes. We've done um, those are the ones that come to mind. We make a great crepe. It's a banana Foster crepe with ginger ice cream,
Mm.
which is out of this world. And the
Sounds
ginger is
awesome.
ginger crisp. Is a candied ginger.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, so those are some of the things that we've done. We did an event where we did a um we did caramelized bacon. We did a candied bacon,
Wow.
and we did a and it was over a blue cheese ice cream.
Candy.
There was, believe it or not, it sounds weird, but it was out of this world.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could see
it
that.
was.
How do you go about deciding in your head like what two ingredients will go well together that you don't see every day, but but I just have a feeling that this is going to work with this.
You know what? You just play with it.
Yeah.
Usually we let the chefs pick what they want to do. That's why they make the big money or not. So we usually let the chefs do it. But we have a couple of guys that really know their stuff, that they have talents that I don't have. For example, one thing I learned was, and actually I learned this from my mother. When you make white rice, you know how sometimes you burn it and it gets very smoky. So
Uh-huh.
she says, if you take an onion, you peel it, a whole onion, you stick it in the middle of the rice, the onion will absorb all the smoke, and now you save your rice.
Hmm.
So you learn to do things like that.
And it tastes
Well,
like onion.
No, actually, no, it really does not. It really
No?
does not. No, or if you're frying, let's say you're frying shrimp, or you're frying something, you take a potato, you make French fries, throw them out, that'll absorb a lot of the flavor, and
Mm.
it's all sort of, I'm going to use the word sort of clean the oil a little bit,
right.
you know,
I could see that. I could see that.
you
Well,
know.
Rich, I'm getting hungry. I'm I'll come pick you up. We're going to Jersey.
There we go, there we
We
go.
Ephraim will be
We'd
there in
love
about
to
an
have you
hour and a
guys.
half. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
and
Um.
and and and
Go
yet
ahead.
and yet they have no one in New York. It's
We have
amazing.
no one in New York. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I have a member in New York. He lives in the Upper East Side on 72nd Street, and
He
he
comes
comes to my
across.
event.
Well,
Yep, yep.
That's interesting. It's interesting. It's sort of, is it like loosely based, right? You don't like the folks that go to the Jersey chapter, as an example. You get camaraderie with the Jersey folks, but you don't interact with the other chapters too much, do you?
Well, me as president, I do, because I cook with it. I've cooked with every single chapter.
Uh-huh.
One of the perks of being international president is they pay for you to go visit some of the chapters, some of the other chapters,
Hmm.
which is nice.
hmm,
Um, So yeah, we do. And if you're a member of one chapter, you're a member of international. So let's say that you're a member of the New Jersey chapter, but you're traveling to Nova Scotia, and they just happen to be having an event when you're there. Automatically, you
you
can
get to
be
go.
there as you can be there as a member, as a guest, but it's like if you were one of their members.
Right.
Well,
And you get to be close friends with these folks, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, my five probably closest friends I've met through the club,
Mm.
which is nice. You
Yeah.
know,
So if you're listening to us or watching us, if you happen to be watching us, I'm going to put the his particular
website.
chapter, which also has a link to his international website. It's lesmarmitonsnewjersey.com, and that'll be in the show notes below this episode. And if you want to hang out with the fellas, so to speak, and you have a love for cooking, and you want to learn a bit from them, and maybe teach
Mhm.
them what you know, go reach out to Efron through this website if you're so inclined.
Yep. If you send a message to the contact us, it actually goes to my email. So
Okay,
feel free.
Rich, you want to take up cooking or what?
I see him every day, so I may have to.
Does he
You,
sneak in a does he bring lunch with you to work?
Never
I bring
noticed.
sandwich. I'll bring a sandwich occasionally, but I don't bring. You know.
We
Well,
had stuck.
do you have any more questions, Rich?
No, no, no. I think we covered it all. I just think it's a great organization,
It is, yeah.
and I didn't realize the thing about the camp, and that's such a nice touch
Yeah.
That's key.
because
Yeah.
the next generation is what we all need to strive and try and get them into a better spot.
Yeah, Rich is all about that, especially through baseball. The
So
name of the
no,
camp
absolutely. Yeah.
the name
Yeah.
of the camp is Kitty Keep Well Camp, and I don't have that from memory. I'm reading it from the website. That's in Edison, New Jersey, right?
Correct. Correct.
And
Check
the
check
name
out their website also if anybody cares to make a donation directly to them.
Okay.
They're a 5013C, or I can never remember those numbers.
Yeah, 501.
Yeah, if you go to
C3.
the Les Marmitons Jersey chapter page and you scroll down to near the bottom, you'll see the name of the camp
Yep.
in Edison, New Jersey. Well,
As a,
Efrain,
as a matter of fact,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, as a matter of fact, that camp, one of the kids that was a camper there years ago, was just hired to be their director. So talk
Oh,
about how things,
wow.
come
That's
around.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is very cool. He was just hired in June.
very
And
good.
one of our chefs, our guest chefs, actually just started recently, is running their summer program. So he does 1,200 meals a day,
Hmm,
all cooked fresh. Nothing,
nice.
nothing prepackaged, nothing sliced,
How many meals a
pre-sliced.
day?
About
1,200.
1,200, because they're, yeah, about 1,200, because you're
Holy
doing three,
mackerel.
four, you're doing breakfast, you're doing lunch, you're doing dinner, and then you're doing two snacks in between, and everything is fresh.
Wow, that's awesome on that
Yeah,
chef's
Yep, yep,
part.
that's a nice touch. That's
Yeah,
a nice touch.
jeez.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Efrain, it was a great pleasure having you on. I'm very happy to learn more about Les Marmitons. It sounds like a great organization, as Rich said, and hopefully some of our listeners will be down for that and reach out to you personally, and if they're
Yes,
from Wyoming, because
Yeah.
we have a
that,
big audience in Wyoming. You can direct them to the right, how to start their own thing out there.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy, and thank you so much, both of you guys, for Tom and Rich, for having me and allowing me to talk about this great organization.
Yeah,
It
Okay.
really is.
that's why I have this podcast, Efren, to learn interesting things from interesting people, and you're one of those.
Mhm. Okay, I
So
appreciate it.
it was a
I
great
appreciate
pleasure
it.
having you
Tell,
both
tell my
on.
wife. Tell my wife.
I'm sure she agrees with me. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being
All
on,
right,
and
Tom.
we'll see you further on up the road. All right.
Okay.
Okay,
All
take
right.
care. Take
Take
care,
care.
guys. God
See you
bless.
guys.